Good morning. I'm PolarizedMoon and welcome back to Mainland. Now I've taken myself and going into the jungle, and now I will follow these footprints. I move along an impossible trail. This is new to me. There are many dying trees, broken at the crown by high wind, with branches like gnarled fingers of a man far gone in age and abuse. There is no end in sight, prompting me to look back in the direction of my ship. Squalid and hopeless, the trail of footprints continues through the devastation. I notice a gap in the underbrush nearby. Look at underbrush. Tropical ferns with broad leaves pushed aside by what must be a regular passerby. I pause to look through the branches and decide whether I should go on. Look at trees? I gaze at the withering arbor. It is detrimental to my confidence as any omen could be. Walk underbrush. There is a movement in the brushes. There's a movement in the bushes. Shush, I can read. I stop breathing, unaware that there were any inhabitants apart from the gulls that harassed me at the water's edge. My stomach knots at the thought of my careless roaming. No weapon at hand, I draw the brass telescope from my jacket. I am at a great disadvantage. I must stay hidden. I hide in the tangle of ferns, willing the unseen beast to move along and remain unaware of my presence. There's a jungle here is not as thick, with stout trunks more plentiful than underbrush. Do I keep waiting? Behind the large fronds, I remain fixed, incapable of moving. Suddenly, out comes such a creature as I have never witnessed, or could hope to convey in all its strangeness. Its body the shape of a pear covered with either feathers or perhaps hair ruffled and gray. Its diminutive head stretched forward by a long, dark beak. I cannot discern whether some clumsy form of mammal or even more pathetic avian. It pauses to turn its pitch-black eyes upon me. Then it disappears back into the undergrowth. What is that, a dodo bird? I follow a rough path through the ferns. The trail has disappeared. The jungle ahead is sparse. I see the sparkle of the ocean through the trees. I am now out of the jungle. The sun is blinding. My eyes squint at the sparkling sea. I could never have been in such a beautiful place before. I feel the presence of another. My eyes, weary from the dazzling light, search the endless wall of foliage, but see nothing. I walk close to the water. Examine the beach. The sand is white, like the spit nearest my ship. But here it stretches beyond the edge of the island. Perhaps the island is not as small as I first assumed. Examine sun, I guess. I put my hand to my brow, the light still burning in my eyes. It seems unnaturally strong. Wait. A primal fear makes me pause before stepping from the shade of the breadfruit trees. Oh, I can walk to the beach. I stand on the beach. My shoes sink into the pale sand, deep enough that every now and then I must empty them. The sun is retired behind a cloud, and it's an easy, pleasant breeze passes across my face. I draw the captain's telescope from my jacket. Before me, the infinite expanse of sea and sky, a singular hue. Look at ocean with... can't type. With spyglass. Surrounded by this vast, desolate blue, it makes me wish to visit those outrageous gulls just to witness the life in them. Walk to the sand. I step down to the waterline as some unexpected panic clenches my body and makes me halt. Do I still wait? What am I waiting for? No, I have no idea. Examine ocean? I try to imagine beyond the horizon that my England still exists, while in front of me nothing but ocean. Examine... No? Okay, what do I do now? Can I look at sand? The sand is fine as dust. If those who created the tracks through the jungle explored the same coast, all traces have disappeared. My head throbs. I press the back of my hand against my forehead, burning to the touch. This adventure has used up my reserves. I must return quickly and not regret it was in vain. So, go ship. Oh, here we go. September 11th, 1846. I have not left the ship for days. It rains and I do not feel well as of late. Thinking many times of Lisa, although I'm no longer haunted by the idea she is in turmoil, but remains ignorant of my situation and waits in peace for my return. She imagines perhaps that I rest with my wide-brimmed hat on a sunny shore, recording Father's legacy. This never-ending rain. I harbor the fear that I have become the man who does not know her. I have changed so much, no longer the one she admires. In fact, I am not deceiving myself to imagine what I once was. Sometimes I think I may have already died. With the captain and crew, perhaps simply I have not realized I am wandering the land of the dead. My body shudders, a sudden attack of fever, I hope, and not the chill of the ethereal plane where no one stands up to confirm my existence. Lisa, no matter what happens, here I know you count the days until my return. This I believe. September 12th, 1846. The day I met Lisa, we supped with Cardavale. Father spending the evening discussing research. His return from the islands marked the beginning of his obsession, a hold more powerful than anything I could have predicted. Stories led into theories. Between the inhabitants of his own England and those of Micronesia, there were certainly anatomical distinctions. The structure of muscle, skeleton, hair, but their behavior was much like our own. What with wars and rumors of wars. He could never affirm his deepest convictions, but he made lively discussion of them at every chance. I can hear his enthusiasm even now, his impassioned explanations of the knees and ankles, dragging our dinner guests through the minutiae, his observations of the specimen of man. That evening, Cardavale fought valiantly against many yawns, amidst the clinking of silverware on china. How I miss home. I spoke to her after dinner. We escaped Father's lecture, and in celebration I noticed a frown flash across her lips. She really did admire his passion, however dry it seemed to me at times. She said it's thanks to men like him we move forward and not held prisoner by the primitive superstitions of the past and the smug ignorance of modernity. I stood before her, small and undeserving. How I must have appeared in her eyes. Here and now, indeed, I am still trying to supplant that image. I stand on the cliff, after waiting what seems months in the cabin of the ship, watching the sky fall. The sea is calm, the surf is barely audible. The rains have finally come to an end so that my health may be sustained, such as it is. I stand near the edge. There are no gulls today, but the memory of my last encounter makes me reconsider the need to come back here each time. Okay. Continuing on. Examine drop-off. Cautious in my approach, knowing the madness of seagulls can manifest itself suddenly. It is too treacherous to climb down the face of the cliff. Okay. Examine the cliff. The same as always. Well, thank you. That's very descriptive. Walk to the drop-off. Cautious in my approach. Okay, that's the same. Look at island. I should use the telescope. Oh, here we go. Look at Island with spyglass. That island is without a doubt the largest in the archipelago. Is it archipelago? Archipelago? I think it's archipelago. I have no idea. You can tell me in the comments below. I have no idea. Certainly there are settlements, perhaps a plantation. I must reach it. I cannot help but think the storm had broken us on the far shore, how many lives would be saved. The men still standing despite all our wretched hardships. However, my searching eye produces no proof. What I would give to see the blaze of a bonfire and dark silhouettes against the white sand. Or by God's grace the sails of a ship rounding the cape. Alas, a shock to my weary mind, there is a boat. Oh, look at boat. Look at boat with spyglass. The craft is long and strange, unlike any I have ever seen. Naked men sit hunched at the oars. The fear of making contact with natives grips at my chest. What if they are a savage race? Hunters seeking human prey. The prevalence of cannibalism among islanders is too much for me to consider now. I resolve that I must remain out of sight until I can discern their motives. Remaining atop the cliff, visible to all, would be my disadvantage. Gulls suddenly appear, squawking overhead. Can I hide? Heat? No. Walk. Oh no, what do I want to do? Walk shore? Suddenly, rocks begin to tumble down the wall of the stone beside me. I scamper out of the way, yet more follow. In fear for my life, I leap to the lower section of the path leading up the cliff. Escaping the rock side, yet a poor landing sends my frame crashing over itself. My body lies sprawled across a mess of stone and dust. I run my hand down my leg, still in shock. The skin is flayed just below my right knee. Ugh. Okay, wipe. No, what can I do? Stand. I attempt to stand, but my leg is lame. The skin broken and flesh throbbing in pain. I must dress the wound. Okay, dress wound. That was easy. With handkerchief. I rotate my leg by sheer willpower, then fashion my handkerchief into a tourniquet. It quickly shifts from the purest white linen to the deepest crimson. The bleeding lessens. Now can I stand? I manage to raise myself up. Okay, where am I? Oh, that's the same. Walk shore. I hobble away from the cliff, excruciatingly. The rocks shelter me from the new wind rising off the water. I hesitate at the shoreline, still unaware of the truth of some wicked self-deception is moving silently across the strait. Gah, the itchy nose. Look at shore. Shore with spyglass. I can see without the telescope. Okay, look at this stony shore will be more difficult in my condition. I make my way out of this bit of sand. My shoes bog down. Every step sends an agonizing pulse through the whole of my body. The longboat is nowhere to be seen, yet I can feel a presence. Is this madness? No, this is Sparta. It's so weird to say that in such a calm voice. No, this is Sparta. Okay, oh, okay, examine just takes me to the last. Okay, I see how this works. Walk. Ship. The Mayflower, she waits for me. Waist deep, I wade out of the side of the ship where I must begin my ascent. The wound calling louder now. Standing at the hull, the Mayflower rests hidden behind the rocks. Even if the crew of the longboat were headed here directly, there is some chance she would remain unseen. This leg. I must climb aboard, then rest a while. Climb Ship. I take hold of the rope and begin. My good foot slips and I wheel about, smashing my shoulder into the hull. Somehow I hang on. Then a sharp crack in the air, the rope gives way and I plummet to the sea. The rope twists into a pile under the surface of the water, carried by the iron hook. The horrid image appears behind my eyes, of my helpless body drowning in the shallows surrounded by a cloud of red. I right myself in panic, splashing and forcing my hand to search for the rope and heavy and coiled nearby. I can see nothing and must follow the strand to search for the hook until suddenly my foot registers a heft embedded in the seafloor. Waist deep, I weigh out to the side of the ship where I must begin my ascent. The wound calling louder now. Wait. Oh, that's the same. Climb ship? Okay, I cannot reach. The deck must be reached with a rope. I cannot board any other way. Throw rope with hook, with a hook. Bulwark. Throw the rope with the... Okay, I try to set the hook behind the gunwale, but several attempts yield only a clang, followed by its frightening descent in my direction. Finally, I manage to secure it. Climb... Bulwark. Oh, here we go. September 13th, 1846. I wonder about the genesis of fear which gripped me in the night. Perhaps only fever. A clouded mind that conjures vassals and natives, and tomorrow a black galleon with father at the bridge, telescope in hand. Whatever I imagine, there has been such encounters with natives. Stories of cannibals are told, primitives with such ferocity having never laid eyes on white skin. I hope I do not appear as a threat in this alien corner of the world. I conveyed my fears openly before the voyage, yet father evaded the subject. During his expedition, he lived on copra plantation and natives were treated as livestock. Nothing of the wild tribes with an ethnographer would be excited by. I suspect yet more I conjure gruesome visions that pushed him toward lighter topics of interest. I have nearly drained the ink on the captain's well as my own. I should try to find more soon. It is dark inside though the middle of the day. My aching eyes regret I did not light a candle before taking up my quill. I stand leaning against the desk. The captain's letter opener lays on the corner of the desk, with a lovely handle having inlaid pearls and a gold filigree on either side. I'm probably going to have to take that. My wound aches when I stand. I look around for some way to clean it. By the door lands a wardrobe with a closet in this tiny London home. I have left his bed unkempt. The sun is well past its zenith. The sky appears as if it is late evening, overcast and hazy out across the water. The small wooden nightstand still waits beside the bed. It might hide more useful things. There's a smaller candle on the nightstand, but no matches. There must be more close at hand. Take blade. Take candle. Open desk. There's nothing useful in the drawers. Search. No. Examine. What can I examine? Bed, cabin dress, desk, drawers, floor, nightstand. It must be ancient, with cracked varnish and bruised legs, as if it was moved around by the cabin frequently. I remove the drawer and find it partially filled bottle of ink hiding in the recesses. I take it. Examine wardrobe. Inside the wardrobe, I find a small flask of whiskey, very similar to the one I found in the crow's nest. Did I put it here? I do not remember. It is no matter how it found its way here. I take the flask. Dress. Nope, I can't dress my wound. I carefully unwrap the handkerchief and examine the flesh laid open by the open and unnatural. The wound does not look to be healing properly, even to the untrained eye. Its jagged outline is inflamed and discolored. I must prevent its condition from deteriorating further. Let's see. Damp Dampen? Nope. Douse wound with whiskey. Ink. Yeah. No, that's not a good idea. I sit on the bed and unwrap my handkerchief to reveal the awful gash. Flinching, knowing yet moving towards with my plan, I pour the rest of the sailor's whiskey onto my wound. The flesh screams. I imagine sinners in hell pay in such fashion. Alright, that's about all the time I've got for this episode. I think this is going pretty well. I'm making a lot more progress than I was before. I have a feel for how the game works now, and it's going pretty well. I feel like this is moving along quite nicely. Like and favorite, like the episode, subscribe if you liked me. Good night, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. So, the main deck of the ship. I stand on the deck near the towering mainmast, hesitant to even look up at the crow's nest. The sky is pale and sullen. I might go to the captain's cabin. I might go down into the cargo hold. So I tried to get the stuff from the captain, the dead body, but I couldn't go in there. So